Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Battle Bunker. So, for those of you that have been following the videos, I've finished my first year as a tournament player now. Slightly different look to what the page, what the channel is. Today, the plan is that we're going to have a deep dive into the list that I'm going to be playing at the start of this season. I've got my first tournament coming up on the 29th of this month, so I thought I'd have a little bit of a deep dive into what it is that I'm going to be playing. So with that, with further ado, we'll start with the characters. So my warlord is my Death Jester. The way I play him is because he's alone up 12 inches, he sits at the back of the board on my home objective, and he just mops up anything that comes too close. He has a standard Harlequin character stat line, so he's an 8-inch move, toughness 3, a 6+ save, but all Harlequins have the 4+ invul anyway. He's 4 wounds. He's a leadership of 6 with an OC of 1. His main ranged weapon is the Shrieker Cannon, which is a souped up shuriken cannon basically, which is a 24-inch range, 3 shots. He's 2+ to hit, strength 6, AP -2, so it's 1 more AP than a shuriken cannon, AP -2, and a damage of 2. Melee weapons, he really doesn't do too much in melee. 4 attacks, hitting on a 2 with his Jester's Blade, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage, but to be honest, you want to avoid putting your Death Jester into combat at all costs, into close combat. He's lone op, as I said, but his main strengths with his ranged weapon. So he's got death is not enough. Anything that he hits, it has to take a battle shock test. And if any of those attacks destroyed a model in the unit, then that test is at -1. Battle shock tests can be hit and miss, but you know, it's not a bad thing to force. But his real strengths is every time he shoots, he gets to choose ignores cover, precision, or sustained hits 2. Oh, sorry, sustained hits 3. Me personally, I will always say at the beginning of the game that every time the Death Jester shoots, unless I say otherwise, he's taking sustained hits 3. Yeah, lay it out there right at the beginning. Sustained hits 3. You know, every time. I equip my Death Jester with the Murder's Jest enhancement. So what that does is it soups him up even more, because if the unit he's shooting at is below half strength, every successful hit is critical. Yeah, he's hitting on 2s. Okay, so if the unit he's shooting at is below half strength, which by the time most units get to where he's standing and within range, they're quite likely to be. Yeah. So all of his hits then on a 2 become critical sustained hits. Yeah. It's that easy with him. So he's my warlord. Then I run a Shadow Seer with the Mistweave. The Shadow Seer, again, the standard Harlequin character stat line. His ranged weapon, I always equip mine with the Neural Disruptor, but you do have the option of the Shuriken Pistol as well. The Neural Disruptor is a 12-inch range, 1 shot, hitting on 2s, strength 4, AP -2, damage 1 pistol, which has anti-infantry and assault. You know, not bad. the anti-infantry. Sorry, it's anti-infantry 2 plus and assault. It's situational. You know, it doesn't. The anti-infantry doesn't matter that much, but it does help. The shuriken pistol is a strength 12 one shot. He's hitting on 2s. Strength 4 AP -1 1 damage pistol. Now, like I say, I'll always equip with a Nurture or Disruptor. Melee weapons is his Misstave. So 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 5, AP -1, D3 damage. Bit swingy on the damage, but he holds his own, and it is a psychic weapon. So he does hold his own when he's with a unit of Harlequins. I always attach him to a unit of Harlequins, and I give him the Mistweave enhancement, which means he can infiltrate. His abilities, he's really strong with his abilities in the fact that while he's leading a unit, they've got lone op 18 inches, and every incoming attack into his unit has to take a hazardous test. I've actually seen units do more damage to themselves than to the Harlequins because of these hazardous tests. So he's leading one unit of troop. I have the Solitaire, again, standard stat lines. Doesn't have a ranged weapon, but 9 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage, precision. But her abilities, she has advance and charge, but once per game you can blitz her, which adds 2d6 to her movement, which is already a 12-inch move, so not quite standard character move. So it adds 2d6 to her move, so potential 24-inch move, and I've pulled it out of the bag with that so many times, and it adds 3 to her attacks. Unfortunately, when they brought the Codex out, they took her devastating wounds away. Very sad for that one. But she is a lone op as well. And then leading 2 other troop units, I have a Troop Master. Troop Master is the 8-inch move, the standard there. Mine will always give fusion pistols to, but you do have the options of the neural disruptors and the shuriken pistols. So the fusion pistol is only 6-inch range. It's 1 attack. Troop Masters are hitting on 2s. It's strength 8, AP -4, D6 damage, and it's melted 2. Quite often, they'll get close enough to actually do some damage with that. And one of my Troop Masters I will also give Kegarax Coil to, so that when they charge, every model in that unit that gets within engagement range, you roll a d6 on a 4+, then you on a 4+, you've caused a mortal wound. The Troop Masters themselves absolutely rock. They punch up so big, and when you put these mortal wounds on top, they're incredible. They're close combat weapons. They can have the special weapons. Why would you, when you can give them the strength 5 AP -2 Troop Master's Blade? Okay, it's 1 attack less. It could be an argument that the special weapon gives you that extra attack, but the Troop Master's Blade, 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage, devastating wounds. The Troop Master also gets to re-roll 1 hit roll of a 1, and adds 1 to the wound roll all the time. So they really do punch up quite big. And when they're leading a unit, they've got a 6-inch pile-in consolidation instead of 3 inches, which is quite good. Yeah. So, like I say, both of those will be leading troops. and they will be in Star Weavers, just to give them that extra movement and a little bit of safety across the board. So then we're into the battle line. Like I say, I run 4 units of troops, one with the Shadow Seer, one with each of the troop masters, and then I run one simple basic bare bones unit. So the first units, or the ones that are attached, they'll always have the 2 fusion pistols, the 2 neural disruptors, and just the 1 shuriken pistol. And because of the units I have, we've got the lead player with the power sword, and then I have 2 special weapons and 2 Harlequin's blades. The Harlequin's blades, 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, damage of 3, minus 1 AP, 1 damage. The special weapons, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 4, 1 AP, 1 damage. And the power weapon is 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 4, AP minus 2, and 1 damage. They've all got devastating wounds. But again, the troops' abilities are where they really shine. You've got to choose. So every fight phase, that's your fight phase and your opponent's fight phase, you get to choose. Yeah, Hero's Prowess. Yeah, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, re-roll a hit roll of a 1. Yeah, the Villain's Doom, add 1 to the wound roll, and Trickster's Grace, subtract 1 from the hit roll coming into you. So again, we'll talk about this at the start of the game, and basically, if it's I'll tell my opponent, if it's my fight phase, unless I say otherwise, I'm taking +1 to wound. If it's your fight phase, unless I say otherwise, you're -1 to hit. Yeah, they really do punch up with the devastating wounds, the +1 to wound. I've seen a 5-man unit of Harlequins with a troop master take down a Norm emissary. I've seen them bring down knights. All right, only the baby ones, but I've seen them bring down knights. They're really, really powerful when it comes to close combat. Certain things I'll do with them as well is because in the charge phase, I will try to charge through a wall. That way I haven't got to waste a token on turning off Overwatch, because if you can't see the unit at the beginning of the charge move, you can't Overwatch them. Once they're in engagement range, you can't Overwatch them. So, I'll try and charge where I can. I'll try to charge through a ruin that way. And like I say, I'll take the +1 to wound all the time when it's my fight phase. -1 to hit me when it's yours. So, like I say, there's 3 units of troops that are run like that, and then there's one unit of bare bones troops, which will be in a Star Weaver. And that one just has 4 special weapons and the power sword. And it's there to back up other units. It's there to just sit on an objective and hold an objective. It's a utility piece, really. So then I'll run 3 Star Weavers. Each of the Star Weavers, it's a standard Harlequin vehicle stat line. They're all built around the same chassis. So they're a 14-inch move, toughness 6, 4+ save, 6 wounds, leadership of 6, 2 OC, but they've got the 4+ invul. The ranged weapons are shuriken cannons. Solid guns. They punch up quite nice as well. There's always the chance of a lethal hit with them. 24-inch range, 3 shots from each gun, hitting on 3s, strength 6, AP -1, 2 damage. Like I say, they punch up quite well. They're lethal hits, so So they can damage things that potentially a strength 6 weapon shouldn't. But they're, you know, the good thing about them, about the Star Weavers, is that if you're within 6 inches at the end of the fight phase, you can get back in. You know, it gives them a little bit more strength, a little bit more durability. If you want a little bit more, they do have smoke, so we can pop smoke on them. But yeah, pretty solid units. So I'll run 3 of them. The next thing I run is it's a bit controversial. You hear some people say, "Oh no, I wouldn't run them." But myself, I do like a fire prism, or 2, to be more precise. So standard Eldar vehicle, 14-inch movement, toughness 9, 3+ save, 12 wounds, leadership of 7, and 3 OC. Sadly, they don't have smoke, they don't have invul saves, so you do have to be a little bit careful with them. You've got the prismatic cannon on the top, which has the two options. So 60-inch range, 2d6, hitting on 3s, strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage. So a little bit more powerful than a shuriken cannon. That's a blast weapon. Or you can use it on its big profile, which is strength 18, 2 shots, strength 18, AP -4, damage, flat damage of 6. So many times have I pulled this off, hit with both first turn, and something big and scary's gone out of the game. Then I will also equip mine always with the shuriken cannons. We talked about shuriken cannon stats. So the good thing about the prismatic cannon on its big profile, though, is that if you've got more than one, as long as one has line of sight of the other, yeah, and that one has line of sight of the target, yeah, then the one that doesn't have line of sight of the target can fire through the other one. Only once now, yeah. Used to be twice, but only once now. But it does help to keep them alive a little bit. And they also reroll 1 hit and 1 wound for every attack, every time they attack. So with the crystal target matrix, they're pretty good. Some people will say, "Oh no, take fire dragons, take fire dragons." I tried fire dragons in a wave serpent, and because you don't have the Skyborn Sanctuary strat with the Ghosts of the Webway that you have with War Host and Aspect Host, they were much harder to get back into the transport to keep them safe. And honestly, I found that fire dragons were a one and done unit. They get out, they kill something big, but then they're out. Yeah, and they would never get a second activation. So I decided that, and they're quite short range as well. So I decided that for me personally, back to the 2 fire prisms that I was running pre-codex. Actually, I was running 3 fire prisms pre-codex, but that's a bit greedy for what I'm doing. So two fire prisms, very similar effects, but from the other side of the board. So 2 of those. A unit of Rangers. This is a new addition to the list for myself. I've not run Rangers before now. And what I wanted was a second cheap screening, move blocking, infiltrating unit. And for what are they, 55 points? So for 55 points, I don't think I could do too far wrong. Even if they do nothing but stand in the way of something for a turn, as long as I've got something big coming up behind to support them, and to make make my opponent think twice about them, then no, then they're probably doing their job. 7-inch move, toughness 3, 5+ save, a 5+ invul save against ranged attacks only, 1 wound, leadership 7, OC 1. The guns, the long rifle, it's a sniper rifle, it's 36-inch range, 1 attack, hitting on 3s, strength 4, AP -1 and 2 damage, which is all pretty okay. But they've got heavy, so if they don't move, then they're hitting on 2s instead of 3s, and they do have precision, and they do have shuriken pistols as well. Their melee isn't anything to write home at all about, but they do have stealth, and if an enemy unit finishes a normal advance or fallback move within 9 inches, then they can move up to D6 inches to try and get in a little bit more cover, make it harder to charge them. But they're basically there just to interfere with the enemy. The next unit I run is a unit of 2 Skyweavers, the jet bikes. 14-inch move, toughness 4, 4+ armor save, 4+ invul, 3 wounds, strength 6, leadership 6+, and OC 2. I will always equip mine with the haywire cannons for a little bit of anti-tank support. 24-inch range, 2 shots, 3+ hitting on 3s, strength 3, AP -1, 3 damage, but it's the anti-vehicle 4+ and the devastating wounds that really punch them up. The thing with a Harlequin army, as I've worked out, is nothing kills something outright. It's everything is chip damage. It's the Skyweavers attacking a vehicle. It's the troop master, or it's the troop throwing grenades at it. It's the troop master with Kegerax coil then charging it and causing more mortals. It's then the close combat. So everything is chip damage. Everything needs to work together to achieve a result. I don't always get it right, I must admit. And then their melee weapon, I'll always give them the Zephyrglaive. 4 attacks, 3+ to hit, strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage. My whole army is built around 2 damage weapons. Shuriken cannons, Zephyrglaives, Shrieker cannon on the Death Jester. All of these things, everything is so many 2 damage weapons. It's unbelievable. Does make it quite difficult though if I'm up against damage 3 stuff like Terminators and Possessed. It is quite hard work to shift both of those, but with enough combined effort, they disappear. The bikes, they've got the advantage in the fact that they are always -1 to hit with the acrobatic grace. It's not just at range; it's always -1 to hit. So alongside them, to help even more with the anti-tank, I run 2 Void Weavers. You'll hear a lot of people say, don't run Void Weavers. Void Weavers are rubbish. I find for the points, they're incredibly effective. And I'll explain why. They've got the standard vehicle, same stat line as the Starweaver, but they've got. I will always run them with their prismatic cannons. It's a baby fire prism basically. So the dispersed option is a 24-inch range, 2d6, strength 3. It's hitting on 3s, strength 4, AP 0, 1. It's like a bolter. You know, but its blast, it does clear out Imperial Guard and things like that. But again, the strength is in the higher profile, which is still only a 24-inch range. 2 shots, hitting on 3s, strength 12, AP -3, 4 damage. So strength 12, yeah. Even your big knights now are only toughness 11, yeah. So strength 12, hitting on 3s, hit into toughness 11, wounded on 3s. Strength 18 from the fire prism, into 11s, into toughness 11, is still only 3s. You know, so against most things, they're almost as effective as a fire prism. Yeah, so that's why I run 2 of them. I do tend to run them in tandem with the fire prism. So you'll have a fire prism, you'll have a void weaver. You know, void weaver and star weaver, close combat isn't anything at all to write home about. They have 4 attacks each, hitting on 3s, strength 3, AP 0, you know, damage of 1. Really nothing at all to write home about. But the real thing, again, with the Void Weavers is their abilities. Their stealth, yeah, and their lone op 18 inches. You know, so many times, you know, they'll get shots off before they can even be hit. And because they got that 14-inch move, you know, they're so quick around the battlefield as well. If I need one the other side of the battlefield, you know, it can be there. Chuck into some agile maneuvers, you know, D6 plus 2 or an extra 2 inches in the move. Now, and they really do get about quite well. So that's my Void Weavers. Like I say, I'll run 2 of those. 2 more units that I run. The first one is a lone Warlock Skyrunner. He is there simply to do secondaries. Yeah. He's not there to fight. He's not there for anything but to do secondaries. Because he's on a jet bike, he's a 14-inch move. You know, he's toughness 4. He's 6. He's 6 plus save, but he has a 4 plus invul. You know, so he's up there with the rest of the Harlequins. He's 3 wounds, leadership of 6, and 2 OC. You know, he does have ranged weapons available to him. He's got his Destructor Psychic Flamer, which is 12-inch range, D6 torrent weapon, strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage. If he happens to be relatively close to a Shadow Seer, that becomes strength 6. You know, he has to be he has to be within 6 inches of another Eldari Psyker. So potentially, you know, he could be strength 6. I'll always Bike's always got the Shuriken catapults, which are an 18-inch range, 2 attacks, strength hitting on 3s, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage, assault twin linked. Like I say, he's not there to fight. He's there to score me points. He's, you know, as far as weapons go, I'll always give him the Witchblade, which is 2 attacks, strength 3, hitting on 3s, AP 0, 2 damage. It's infantry 2 plus, and it's psychic. But like I say, honestly, you know, the number of times he never sees combat. Yeah, you know, he's got the runes of battle, so everything ignores cover from him. You know, it really doesn't make that much difference. He literally is there to go out, score me, engage on all fronts, to do sabotage, to establish locusts, to recover assets. That's his job. Pure and simple, that is his job. The Skyweavers that I talked about earlier, they are there to go out and help move block. They can be used to do some of the secondaries. You know, but his only role in the army is to do secondaries for me. I tried to do the same with the Solitaire. I try not to put her into combat if I can, because she's so quick. She can get, and for enemy deployment zone objectives, she's so good. So the last unit I run is a unit of 5 warp spiders. I don't do nothing special with these guys. They have a 12-inch move, toughness 3. Everything has a toughness 3 that's infantry. They're on a 3+ save and a 5+ invul. The Exarch has 2 wounds, the rest have 1. Leadership 6 and 1 OC. As far as the weapons go, the Exarch will have the Death Weavers, and the other 4 will all have the Death Spinners. 12-inch range for a Death Spinner, 6-inch range for a Death Weaver. Everything else is exactly the same. D6 inches Torrent, except the Death Weavers are twin-linked. Strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage. They're Torrent, they ignore cover. And then the Exarch will have the Power Blades. And the reason he has those things is because I still use the old metal model, which I've had since 3rd edition. I still use him. So that's basically what I do with him. They are there to, again, help with screening. They're an Overwatch threat. Not that I use Overwatch hugely, but they're there to help with screening and help score some of the secondaries, the positional based ones. Good thing with them is the flicker jump. You can move them up to 24 inches, but you must make a test when you do. You roll 1 dice for each model in the unit. On a roll of a 1, they take a mortal wound. I've played them where I've done a flicker jump, I've rolled 5 dice, and I've had 4 ones. I've played them as well where I've done the flicker jump, rolled a dice, and no ones. It is pure pot luck as to whether or not you're going to lose any of them. Generally speaking, you might lose 1 or 2 from a flicker jump over the course of the game. I have deep strike, but to be honest, I'll start them on the board rather than deep striking them in. So that's that. I mean, going back to my Warlock, a model that I'm particularly proud of, and talking about the warp spider, the metal warp spiders, my Warlock that I use to fit in with the game is an old 2nd edition, perhaps even Rogue Trader, Warlock on a jet bike. The one with this laughing face on the carapace at the front. Picked that model up years ago, so that's what I use for my Warlock. So anyway, that is the basics of the list. So that's what I run. We have some really interesting strats and things. Great army rules, or detachment rule. We can charge through enemy models. So it's not always, you've got to be really. It's got to be really situational to be able to get through a screen and into the model you want to charge. But what it does mean is that you can charge to the other side of the unit, so you can make sure that, as long as you stay in unit coherency, you can make sure that you surround a unit, so everything gets into base contact. You know, and then obviously we have the agile manoeuvres as well. The swift as the wind, which is the 2-inch extra 2 inches, which you can use more than once. The flitting shadows, which is one of my favourite agile manoeuvres. That's the one that shuts down Overwatch. Saved my model so many times once I remembered that I could use it. There's been a few occasions where, and I made the same mistake twice in one game. If you watch back on my videos, you'll find it. It was against Beth, and I moved a Harlequin troop out into the open, ready to charge. She overwatched. I then did exactly the same thing in the next turn, forgetting to turn off Overwatch. So it's something that, you know, drum in now. We've got the Star Engines, which is a D6 plus 1 inch move. Sorry, I did say D6 plus 2 earlier. This is a D6 plus 1 inch move for our vehicles. We've got our Sudden Strike. And these are common to all Eldar armies. A Sudden Strike is a 6-inch pile-in and consolidation instead of the 3-inch. The difference between this one and the one that the Troop Master gives is this one has to be towards the closest model. The one with the Troop Master doesn't have to be towards the closest model, but it must finish closest to the closest enemy, or closer to the closest enemy unit. Yeah, it's a bit complicated, but it is, and it's situational, but it does make a big difference. And then we have Opportunity Seized, which is a D6 plus 1 inch move that we can make if our enemy falls back from us. So we can either chase them and tie them up again, or we can move away behind a wall. Either way, we can make a D6 plus 1 inch move. And then finally we have Fade Back, which is a D6 plus 1 move for any unit that gets shot at. So I've got my Fire Prism, 2 Predators have line of sight on it. One of them shoots it, doesn't kill it. Before the next one shoots, I can then move my Fire Prism D6 plus 1 inches out of line of sight. Yeah, really helpful, really useful. And all of these, they're extra stratagems that don't cost you anything other than your tokens. And you can use 4 tokens in a 2,000 point game. So that's the list that I basically run. That's what I'm going to be running for the next few months, just while I get my head around playing again. Hopefully, you know, last season I had 2 0-3s, I had 4 1-2s, and I had 2 2-1s. So this season I'm looking to do away with those 0-3s, turn them into 1-2s. Yeah, turn some of the 1-2s into 2-1s, and maybe turn one or two of the 2-1s into a 3-0. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, for now, yeah, I hope everybody's well. Enjoy your tournaments, enjoy playing, and may the dice forever roll in your favour. I'll be back to let you know how this did in the tournament. Toodle pip, people. Bye-bye.